Let's take a deep breath together in through our nose, deep into our belly, and we sigh it out through our mouth. Oh, this helps us to step into our body space, especially when we are tuning into a pleasure lit episode that is all about pleasure. We want to feel relaxed and open to receive the pleasure lit downloads. Welcome to another episode at Pleasure Lit with Patricia. Today I've got a guest speaker with me, Melissa Louise. She's a leading pleasure advocate, erotic blueprint coach, and a sex, intimacy, and relationship expert. She supports women to reclaim their divine birthright, to feel alive, orgasmic, and turn the fuck on no matter their age or relationship status, and men to be more attractive, powerful, trustworthy, make more money, and find freedom by lasting longer in bed. Welcome to this conversation.
Oh, honey, I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm just a wee bit excited.
I mean, another pleasure advocate,
I
pleasure,
know.
it's gonna be just pleasure lit. I know already. I always
Mm-mm-mm.
like to ask a few like starter questions so we can get to know you. And towards the end, same. It's just because I'm so interested in pleasure. I just always love to
Mm.
pick everybody's, brain and body about pleasure. So to start with, what does pleasure mean to you personally, and how has that understanding evolved over time?
Oh my goodness, what a great question. Wow, I have to try and remember about 2 decades ago. Because right now, here, pleasure to me is it's the aliveness in which I breathe, how I exist in the world. And, for many years, I've always, I still do say that years ago when I first started saying, look, it's our birthright, it was also kind of like a hurdle or a fight. Like it is our birthright. We just like we're meant to have the right to clean and fresh water and clean and fresh air. Our bodies are designed to exist really well and to recalibrate through pleasure. So if we're going to look at it from a, practical point of view, pleasure is actually what our body needs to be well. The lack of pleasure puts us in so much dis-ease. And so then, of course, pleasure brings equilibrium or homeostasis, but it also then completely accelerates. So for me, it's just my absolute turn on to life. It's the reason I exist, especially in a woman's body. Are you serious? How lucky were we? This is what we landed. And it's never ending. And so pleasure to me is in the way that I fall asleep at night, with the way that I place my pillows and the velvet pillows, the rugs that I have on my bed, the what I drink out of, the decanter, how my home looks, the fact that I work while sitting in a leather chair. Whenever I wear clothing, it's either going to be satin or silk, or like if I'm walking, I'm barefoot, in the ocean or on the sand or the river. Like if I'm going to take my dog for a walk, it's like, where can I go and be truly pleasure filled? So this morning it was the river, and oh my God, yeah. And when I smell a flower, and then you go and kiss someone, oh my God, now it's tenfold. So it's just how to do life.
And what is something like, if you think about it specifically, or what comes to mind when someone asks you, what is something that brings you a lot of pleasure?
Oh gosh, I'm a woman. I've just got a whole list. uh, making. I'm going to give you two things. This is self-sourced. Making my own chocolate,
Yeah.
because I always wear a gown. I always lick the pan if some gets in the freezer. So making my own chocolate. And then if I'm speaking to a lover, it's just that absolute presence and the leaning in and the slowing down. Like I will slow my body to really support him to slow down if he's like, and yeah, just the way that I get spoken to or with in absolute presence.
Yeah. Oh.
Delicious.
Do you have
Mm.
like a personal ritual or like a practice that really helps you to stay connected to your pleasure self?
Breast massage every like I now and nakedness and breast massage. I mean, I'm very blessed in my apartment. I hardly ever wear clothes. I'm always up in the morning. Sleep naked, wake up naked. I make my coffee naked, and I'm always massaging my breasts. with warm coconut oil as the coffee's brewing and as I'm, making a decision where to take my dog. Like that's how I start every single day.
Oh, I love that. And when you think about like looking at back at your journey, where are you currently at now on your pleasure journey?
I guess the word that just came is completely comfortable with the embodiment of it.
Mm.
It's not something I need to decide anymore, or where I'm at with my pleasures. I'm actually not concerned what other people think anymore. Like where I'm at is I'm completely sovereign in my pleasure. I'm always, if I go to a restaurant, I will change the seats. I will ask for something else. Like your persona is so picky, and it's like, I'm here to have an experience with this chef. And I would like this on the plate as well, because that will make me really effing happy. Like,
Oh.
like everything I do is just like this, not in an arrogant way. It's just like, oh my God, and we could have more. Oh, it could actually be more fun. Why not? Like there's no holding back.
Mm.
And my friends always talk about that with me. It's like, oh my God, if you're gonna go out with Melissa, or if Melissa's gonna, if you're gonna go to Melissa's house, it's just gonna be more and more and more, because to me it's like it's so abundant. So I feel very sovereign in my pleasure right now.
Mm. When we think about the intention for this conversation, we thought we have a chat about how to create or make sex more pleasurable for women. And
Mm.
in your experience, why do you think women like struggle to actually like fully receive or even prioritize pleasure, especially in regards to sex with others?
Well, we currently live in a construct that presents sex as something that gets done, and it's in the male project. So the masculine project that runs our current system is based on the doing, and it's on his pleasure. So the woman's experience is that she's problematic, the way that it's given to us, as in like, that narrative, she takes too long. No woman ever takes too long. Men don't take long enough. That's never said. It's always said that the woman takes too long. Our pleasure has always been deemed dangerous from all religion and cultural constructs. I was born in the 70s, very early 70s. So this constant fear that I wouldn't be chosen, and I wouldn't be chosen. So I had to dumb myself down. So you can't be alive. You cannot be too loud. It was okay for my younger brother to go and sow his seeds, and my younger brother to go out and do all of this stuff. But I couldn't do that because apparently, even though for heterosexual people to have sex, it means the guy has sex with women. But if the woman has lots of sex, then she is devalued. So
Mm.
we have this devalued aspect to all of the narratives that we given at school, like school uniforms are not allowed to be short, but boys can wear short shorts, but girls can't. So our genitals are dangerous, and we have to placate our existence according to the danger of the male gaze. The men are not, it is not in the narrative that men are completely educated not to look at a woman. It is a woman's fault if the guy looks. So with all of that construct, which is also, if we look at epigenetics, it's, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, our mothers have gone through all of that. We're in arenas at the moment where that's shifting and changing, but our mothers and our grandmothers weren't. And that is still deeply inside of our blood. It's inside of our cells, and epigenetic, it's all held in our organs. So for us to win in our current cultural construct, for us to win and us to be safe and for our children to be raised and have a roof over our head, we need to bloody well behave. So the danger of eroticism, and then of course we have the women who are highly erotic and how they're vilified, and the construct that's always pulling them down, and how they are punished. So all around us we're punished for our pleasure. So therefore the construct is very tethered to the masculine project to this day. So
Yes, I also believe, especially a woman who's like purely in her erotism and really embraces her pleasure side, not just gets the the statements, the comments from men, but also from other women sometimes.
oh
And that
yes.
is
Oh,
because
yeah.
they sometimes wish they could just embrace themselves that way, but can't, like something is stopping them. And then seeing someone else like fully embracing it sometimes can be really like hurting for them as well.
Yeah, it pushes a lot of buttons. I mean, when we speak of misogyny, misogyny isn't just, isn't the masculine side. Women are affected, and women are also within it. And that is also a huge safety factor. It's like
Mm.
to view another woman who's fully free and fully in her eroticism, can bring up so much fear in a woman who hasn't, uh, whose life exists on the fact that she stays quiet or that she stays within the box or she stays within the realm that's acceptable. I mean, it's very button pushing. I mean, what to do with it also too, because we're not raised within sisterhood. We're not raised within a community of women. We're raised to compete against one another. All of this ties in. It's like, so yeah, so there's this competition factor.
I love that
Yeah.
you just mentioned that with sisterhood because that's very true. Like when you look back, well, we were living in groups and we were
Mm,
meeting in temples and we were, collectives where now everybody's just pretty much isolated. No one's really sharing anything anymore. And I believe this desire for connection is really there. And how are we
mhm,
supposed to know about things and pleasure and all of these things if no one's teaching us? Like school isn't, the system isn't. And if we don't have like sisterhood or others we can turn
mhm,
to, or parents, because for them it's like a topic they're not even talking about. Like my parents, my mom was
mm.
just like, we're not talking about this, and this is not something we do in our house. So
Okay,
it's like, how are you going to
you were
learn?
born in our house, but we won't talk about that. Okay.
So this is exactly why I believe sisterhood now it's so important that we are embracing our true self. So we actually empowering others. And if others feel triggered and might feel hurt, that they actually tune inwards like, oh, why is that triggering me? Like what's to explore
Mhm,
here? And then really leaning into sisterhood and actually be open to learn and to ask for support and really lean into it. And I think we're just in that progress to change a little bit into that as well. And I think especially with AI, the real human connection is starting to get really like something more that we desire. So I think sisterhoods, and this is why I love creating the pleasure lit circle that I've just opened the doors to. It's just so important that we are coming back together to really support
mhm,
each other.
mhm, most
Um,
definitely. Yeah.
because you are an erotic blueprint expert as well, and I love erotic blueprints, it has opened so many doors for me, and I always teach about them as well. But for anyone now listening who might not know about what erotic blueprints are, um, but especially related to now women and sex, how can understanding the erotic blueprints help sex to be more pleasurable for women?
Oh my goodness. It's a game changer. And when I became a certified coach in this, it completely changed the game for everything, for me and for my clients. So the way I like to describe it is, so the erotic blueprints actually gives you a roadmap of how your nervous system tries to turn on. So in our cultural narrative, it's very one way. It's that the sexual blueprint is like, sex toys and 10 minutes. Every movie, it's just one way. It's such a cookie cutter way of existing. And it doesn't bring room for anything else. So then this also brings up this failure factor. It's like, well, why can't I be turned on in 3.5 minutes? Like, yeah, there's something wrong with me because he's ready and I'm not, and all of these things. And then also to the shame of like not being able to do exactly how everything is, laid out in front of us. So with the erotic blueprints, there's five. There's the energetic, the sensual. These are not hierarchical either, as I'm speaking them out, but energetic, sexual, sensual, kink, and shapeshifter. So the nervous system of a sexual can be completely ready for turned on with sex. They go from 0 to 100 just like that, within a couple of minutes. They can come home, their partner's just, this woman could come home if sexual is really high in her blueprint, she will come home. Her guys are in his jeans. Maybe he's all sweaty. He's been plumbing. He's doing anything. Actually, the sensual, and maybe many women would be like this, he's sweaty. He's got his shirt off and he's just standing there, maybe like having a cup of coffee or tea. And she walks in and just sees him. It's like, wow, bomb, Whereas is someone who's
Here I am.
essential, that she's like, I'm home. We're together. We're on. Um, Someone who's essential could walk in, and maybe, he's been under the sink. And so the tools are still on the floor. He's still, same scenario, shirt off, sweat, a little bit dirty, leaning up. But the sink is dirty. Yeah. He hasn't had a chance to clean up yet. So she sees him having a cup of tea or coffee or whatever with a mess all around him. She's also come home and music on the radio was really shit. It was just like heavy metal. Maybe she walks in and he's playing music that, is heavy metal or something. Her system is like, even though he's looking gorgeous, she's like, the music in the ears is like, and the mess, like she can't get through that. That's what she sees. She doesn't really, he's a part of the mess. So they're energetic. Someone who's energetic could come home to that scenario. And especially, and this is not, I'm not saying people who are not energetic would also not respond this way, but say she's had a bit of a hard day, comes in and she's processing a lot and she's walked in through the door and maybe she didn't realize her partner was at home. And he sees her and he comes up and walks up to her and hugs her straight away. So there's body contact really quickly, and her nervous system is not ready for body contact. So it's like, it's a fight and flight, basically. It's like, ooh. And then she might go, oh, I've got emails to do, or I've got to go and do some stuff, or like trying to get away so she can breathe, or she'll be in shutdown and she can't be really present because he's come so close to her quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then there's a superpower and stuff that's really great, and then there's also the stuff we have to work with every blueprint. The kinky, if she comes in the door and she's got high kink, and maybe he's sexual, and he walks in, he's like, okay, so he's half naked, and he looks at her and he's like, yeah, let's go, and she'd be like, so tell me why I should, Or he's standing there, with like, and maybe he, picks up a wrench or something and like starts, slapping his hand, going, don't you fucking move.
You're late. Where have you been?
Yeah, that's right. You're late. Turn round and bend over. And she'd be like, whereas if you did that too, or maybe psychological kink for their energetic and psychological kink, wow, marriage in heaven. But yeah, like someone who's sensual, that really high sensual and hasn't given a container, that might, if he's really kinky and he starts doing that, she'd be like, there's a mess on the floor, like I'm not bending, do you know what I mean? All of that thing. So it's about understanding, and often people believe, and the shapeshifter goes through all of them. So I could walk through the door in any of those scenarios and be like, yes, please.
Are you shapeshifter?
Yes, I'm shapeshifter. Yeah. Yeah. What do you know what you are?
I'm very dominantly, like actually three of them. It was like 34, 33, 30 something. So like very, very like three of them. And that is the energetics. And then a percentage less was kinky and sensual. So basically I'm an energetic, kinky, sensual, which I believe makes perfectly sense because that kind of like intervenes into each other. I'm absolutely not sexual, and this is why I'm probably also not a shapeshifter, because you can put a
Right.
naked person in front of me and I look at it, there's a body. But it doesn't, there's a body. Like I've
Two
also
arms
been,
and two legs. Awesome.
I've been a qualified nurse. I've worked in nursing. I've seen many
Right.
bodies. For me, it is a body. And if the energetic doesn't work, if there's no sensual, if there's no kink in there, like if that's not working in there, like I'm after the package. So you can stand in front of me naked and you can
Mm.
have the most gorgeous looking body, and I would be like, wow, you look amazing, but it wouldn't turn me
It's
on.
like,
Unless you bring
yeah,
in something else, then it would stimulate me.
right. Right. But amazing. So this is the thing, it gives us a roadmap. And it allows us to understand what we need and what we get to, our conversations, what we get to ask for. And many people believe that they need to, in partnership or lovership, they need to be the same. Like, that's like having scrambled eggs every single morning. Do you know what I mean? Like to enjoy a good breakfast, you don't have to have scrambled eggs every morning. You could have them boiled. You can have something different. I think it's really delicious and amazing to have a partner that's different, because you straight away having two different, blueprints in a household, you now have more possibilities. And then, of course, once you're fulfilled in those and you start playing in the other blueprints, just, it's just like the love languages. Just because your love language is words of affirmation, it doesn't mean you're not going to appreciate a beautiful gift, like, flowers being brought, or,
Mm.
a juicy yum hug and spooning. Of course, like there's, you go across the board. So the same thing with the erotic blueprints is about also learning and leaning into and discovering and exploring the other ones as well. So we learn to cross the bridge. We learn to ask for our needs to meet. We learn to play with one another, just as it's a responsibility in love languages to speak to your partner in their love language, as it's their responsibility to speak to you in yours. Same with the erotic blueprints. It is a responsibility, the ability to respond appropriately in lovership. If your partner is energetic, go and get energetic skills. Learn to do breath work. Learn how to move energy through their body. Learn how to do light touch. Like when someone's saying, I don't do that, it's kind of like going, well, do you say that to your boss about work? You rock up at work and the guy's, I was sort of, and I'm not saying, women also can be very shut down as well. But if you had to go to work and your boss gave you the keys to the truck and said, you've got to go and pick up, a ton of wood, down the road for today's work, you're like, no, I don't do that. Like you wouldn't have a job. So to go and do that to your partner, say, oh, I'm not energetic. I don't do that. It's just like, yeah, I don't open the door anymore. It's just insane how we often treat sexuality as optional. Learning about sexuality as an option or an inconvenience. Like it's so interesting how that energy comes towards our sexuality a lot. Anyway, I don't understand it, but
I like how you just mentioned it is just a doorway of more opportunities because if you look at it that way and not just, oh, we are mismatch, that's not going to work. But actually looking at it, okay, what can we do to make it work? Like, how can we explore this? Like, let's play around and maybe we can find a way where we know this is going to work for the both of us. And it's just about really leaning into it. And I love that so much. I also like the idea that you just explain these erotic blueprints by one example. With the guy of like, the handyman guy, and you come walk home because that's how you can probably see yourself. Okay, when I come home, how would that work and how would that be? So if I'm like mostly energetic, he can have all the tools around, but also like the sensual. Yeah, maybe he should have cleaned up, and be when I come home, be present. So he's energetically switched on and be like, here I am. There's nothing else you need to worry about. We can just eye gaze and we can like, go into the yumminess. And I would be like, boop, boom, instead of
boom,
like,
boom, yeah.
yeah. You want to feel turned on by your own life, to feel lit up by your own pleasure. You want to be and live pleasure lit. I am Patricia. I was the good girl. I survived an ED and a DV marriage. And the shift came when I started to reconnect with my body. Somatic pleasure changed everything for me in my life, business, motherhood, and relationships. Now I wake up feeling deeply alive in my body. I feel pleasure in the ordinary moments. I receive love, pleasure, success, rest without shutting down or rushing past it. I know what it costs a woman to keep functioning, to keep performing, to be disconnected from her body. And I also know what becomes possible when a woman starts to feel it all. I am the founder of Pleasure Lit and an award-winning pleasure explorer and educator. Through my trauma-informed somatic pleasure, tantra, yoga, breathwork, and feminine embodiment, I guide women from high functioning and being disconnected into feeling radiant, regulated, and deliciously turned on. If this sparked something inside of you, this is your invitation. Join us within the Pleasure Lit Circle, my online community for women with life codes and somatic pleasure practices. Get my #1 bestseller book, The Pleasure Lit Way, to awaken, deepen, and widen your pleasure potential. For more pleasure exploration, you can tune into my voice notes at Women's Pleasure Notes on Substack and go deeper within my online courses. You can also apply for one-on-one coaching and book me for your workshops, events, and speakings. You can choose your path at pleasurelit.com.
Pink scene right there, you walk in the door, he lifts up his head, puts the cup down, takes your arm, no words at all, takes your hand, leads you into the beautiful lounge room where everything's set up beautifully with cushions and just sits you down and starts gazing in your eyes and leans back without one
I was
effing
like, I'm already melted.
not one word spoken, and she's a mess.
Dripping. Oh,
You'll have to place her on the wooden floor.
it is, like you said, such a game changer. It has changed like my personal and also for anyone I've taught about the erotic blueprints and love languages, but also not
Mm.
just in regards to sex, actually also for self-pleasure. Because that is a game changer too, of knowing,
Oh,
okay, my friend is talking about this and that, but that just doesn't sit for me. Why is that? Because you might be a different erotic blueprint, a different person for love languages. And it's so important that we not just give love and, share our pleasure with others, but also turn to ourselves and look after
mm.
ourselves and give ourselves what we actually crave. And knowing what your personal erotic blueprint is and your love language can be so beneficial to pour that into yourself. And then knowing your loved ones opens another container to actually, expand that whole lot. Oh,
I love how you've just explained that. Yeah, because that's around self-sovereignty, and
yeah.
that's also too when we're looking at deconstructing so many of the constructs that women have about their own pleasure and their own body and their own sexuality. When you understand your love language, you understand what your erotic blueprint is, you have your map and you're responsible now. You are like, we are responsible for our own pleasure. It's another thing, in relationship, it's kind of like I was on a call yesterday with 44 men. And it's like the thing of like, you don't give a woman an orgasm. You never give a woman an orgasm. You create the environment and you touch her in ways to allow her body to open and surrender to you and unfold into an orgasm. Like her body will have an orgasm in your presence. How present are you? What are you doing for that to happen? You don't go in and give her one. This whole culture of like a man does something to her. It's like, no, beautiful man, you create and you provide so that she can surrender. So then we are very self-responsible for our own pleasure, like to have when we need it to be slower, when we need someone to nibble our neck. It's like, oh my God, could you please just bite my neck right now? And it's like, now means now. I said now. No, it's like to be fully responsible for how we get to navigate with that. So we need to know our own body. And I think a lot of women also hold it's some nervousness or shutdown or shame or guilt about fully exploring themselves. I mean, I know I've worked with many couples who believe once they're together, they're not to masturbate anymore. Just like going, you need to masturbate more because you're going to have more sex because you're living in a house now, with the other person.
Yeah.
But this fact of like the responsibilities of the other. Now that we're together, we will only ever do this together. And of course, what happens, we all know.
I
Eight
love
months
that
down
you
the
just
track.
explained that to 44 men of like, you're not giving it. You're actually just, helping her to surrender to the experience. And this is
Yeah.
why I always say you are an assistant to her pleasure. You are, that's all. She's sharing her pleasure with you, and you are an assistant to help her,
Have
experience
more.
more depth. Exactly, more depth, expanding it.
Mhm.
So this is a beautiful example for that one. And
Mm.
like you said, it's super important that we take our own responsibility because for
Yeah.
years I myself have believed I need to have a partner to experience good sex and orgasms, and I gave
Mhm.
the responsibility of pleasure to them, to then be get
Mhm.
disappointed because I handed over the control of not even knowing my own body. So of course they failed and not, you know, being good
Mhm.
assistants to my pleasure because
Yeah.
they didn't know what to do because I didn't even know what to do with my
Mhm.
own body.
Mhm.
So I needed to
Mhm.
actually get to know my own body.
Yeah.
Well, how can men or like masculine partners support women in like feeling more open and relaxed and turned on for sex?
Oh my
Like,
goodness, yeah. It's starting with everything else other than the genitals is number one. Okay. I mean, many different layers. It's like conversations, asking what a woman needs. What does she like? How can she be turned on? Like, we were sharing last night. It's like you can't, if you were with someone a month ago, you can't go to the next woman with the same map or whatever worked over
mm,
here, assuming that because this is another woman that it's going to be the same. So always asking, making sure that there's so much safety. When I say safety, it's like where she knows that she's been taken care of. Slowness, so if you need to slow, if you've been asked to slow down or you need to slow down 10 times. Don't just go a little bit slower, slow down, then again, then again, then again, and really come into attunement with her. I mean, first of all, it's also doing your own self-pleasure practice so you can last longer, so that your arousal is not putting you into a stress state that you're going to lose it. So you need to be inside of her so you can have an orgasm. It's like you've got to take off the you factor out of the whole scenario where you're able to move your sexual energy, or you're very comfortable with soft cock, that you don't need to be fully aroused and then trying to fix that problem. And only say that way because that's the energetics of it. It's not a problem to have a soft cock or an erect cock at all. But really turning her body on, because a woman's map of arousal is head, heart, then pussy. Our head we need to be intrigued. We need to hear the right things. We need to be turned towards you and then feel safe. And then therefore our heart will, like when our heart is open, we start drawing you in and we want more. And then our pussy will open. So it's really leaving the genitals, her vulva to the last, to the least. Like, don't rush towards it. She's got ears and neck and hair and a chest and breasts and nipples and knees and thighs and fingers, and she has a tongue to nibble and pull on. She's got a bottom lip to nibble and suck on. She's got all of this stuff. By the time you get to a vulva, that vulva is going to be pulling you in. And when, people say, how do you know when a woman's ready? When she's fucking begging for you. When she's just like got you and she's like pushing you down, and then that's when you go, no way, sweetheart, I am a bit in control here. So yeah, when she's begging. And I saw this incredible, I don't know the woman's name right now, but it was a woman speaking about the Kama Sutra and Tantra. And she was saying, imagine a world, I can't do it verbatim, but imagine a world where a woman's pleasure is actually indicative of the health of the community and was so necessary. And if a woman's pleasure wasn't taken care of, then that was the issue. That was cause for punishment. And she goes, well, there used to be a time like that. It's what the tantric temples were about. Men would never, a young boy could never go and make love have a girlfriend and make love with her without learning the arts of the female body, because of how much a woman's pleasure is indicative of the health of community, of her family, and wealth. When we look at wealth, and we have a very egotistical solo structure right now, whereas woman's pleasure actually creates more wealth and health, and it brings the family and it brings community into the center. So it's actually very radical and it's very necessary. It's the revolution. It's really revolutionary for
Yes.
women to be in their pleasure.
That's why I say pleasure is magic, and I love the pleasure lit magic ritual to really manifest your deepest desires, love, more pleasure, wealth, abundance with
Mhm.
pleasure, with your pleasure
Mhm.
energy. And I love how you really say it one thing, how can men support her? By her feeling safety, like in her nervous system, feeling safe and really
Mhm.
giving her a long turn on. And when I met men, I once explained it like this, and I said, put a finger inside of me now, like without any turn on. And then let's get it going, let it flowing. And then when I felt it, like, I'm like, okay, now I'm really turned on. And it was like half an hour or so. I said, now put two fingers inside of me. And he's like, holy. And I'm like, he's like, I didn't even like needed to push anything in. It was just in the entrance and you were just absorbing me and it was so much more wet and like, engorged and that felt like so amazing. I said, see, that must be like a difference for you as well, entering a woman when she's actually really turned on to when she isn't. So why
Yeah.
wouldn't you actually get to that point where she's begging you and you slide and you're like, wow, this is
Where
different.
you're completely like sucked in. I love that. What an incredible, beautiful experience for him. And
Yeah.
last night I started the call with showing an image of, the penis and the clitoris, because it's all of the same tissue, just arranged differently. And so then, showing it's like with the same tissues, like you can't. if you have soft cock once you're inside of a woman, yes, you can stay inside. But like sort of saying to the men, like with a soft cock, you can't penetrate a woman. And yet women are always expected to be penetrated with a soft clitoris. We still need to have an erect clitoris, just like you have an erect cock. It's the same tissue. It's just arranged differently. We have legs like you have legs. We have, the shaft like you have the shaft. We have the head just like you have the head. We even before circumcision, like the clitoral hood is the skin that gets circumcised on
Yeah.
the man's penis. Like all of these things is like you wouldn't have sex. You don't, most men do not have sex with a flaccid penis. And yet women are expected to in our current cultural narrative, like they expect themselves to receive penetration without an erect clitoris. It's insane in my world.
Where can people find you if they're interested to work with you and explore that a little bit
Mm.
more in depth and further?
Mm-mm-mm. MelissaLouise.world. One great place to get onto, which there'll be a link down here, is through my Substack, which I know that you're onto on this great Substack journey, because I just love writing, and I get like sometimes I get really about things, and sometimes I'm really soft about things. So you get the feminine, like we're always shifting and change. Depends where the moon is in the sky. So you can tell where the moon is in the sky by just watching my emails. So yeah, I love that people to especially, to come into my Substack, really lean into my world. And then of course Instagram as well. I'm rebuilding an account, but it's up there and I go there and yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you have a book recommendation for pleasure?
I think everyone should be reading She Comes First.
Mhm.
And for women, Pussy a Reclamation, I think, is a really great one for
Yeah.
women to like
Oh, I
to
love
really
that one.
reclaim who they are as women. Yeah. And I love to, She Comes First for everyone and for women to understand their body and understand how important it is. And for men, I still remember this one reaction, this one beautiful young man, actually. And it was a Jewish boy. And I'll say boy because he was quite young, who worked with me years ago. Just and when I say Jewish, because there was a huge thing around his culture, and he really mustered up the courage to
Mm.
work with me to really break all of these constructs. Because when he and I had a conversation, he's just like going, "What do you mean?" Because we just met, at a cafe. So his whole world thing. So he came in to work with me, and it was such an honor for me to receive that. So I gave him this book to read, and I still remember that when he came back on call after reading it, he's just like, it's just like,
It's too much.
it's like you women. It's like. Because it's so much. And I'm like, we haven't even talked about menstrual cycles yet. I need to know about them. You know what I mean? It was just so beautiful. It was so innocent and just the absolute realization of how much of his life and obviously his parents' life and all around him, men had no idea about women and women had no idea about themselves. And he was really changing the game. But it was just such a beautiful moment for me. And I was just like, oh, honey,
I also love
I'm
that you
sorry.
I also love that you just mentioned we haven't even talked about the menstrual cycle because that really matters too for pleasure and especially also in partnership with sex and everything. But that was a whole nother conversation. I would like to have one last question before we end this
Yes.
episode. What is your number one tip for pleasure?
Oh, slow the fuck down in your words, how you speak, in your touch, in your breath, how you eat, how you walk, how you ride. Just slow the fuck down.
Yeah. Love that. Thank you so much for coming on to have a conversation around how we can create more pleasure for women with sex. I really love that. So thank you.
So my pleasure, darling. So my pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's been so wonderful.
Now, I would love to hear from you what has resonated with you from this episode. Leave us a comment down below. And when you loved this episode, make sure you follow and subscribe to the show, give it a 5-star rating, and also share it along so we can spread more pleasure into this world. You can access my free Pleasure Lit workshop at no1pleasurelit.com/links. Sending you lots of love and pleasure. Mwah.